EA Sports. It's in the game.
Hello everybody, this is the Mad Scientist, EA Sports Game Changer, and I am here with Ben Haumiller, producer for NCAA Football 13. So we're here to talk about studio updates, one of the new features of NCAA Football 13. So Ben, tell us a little bit about studio updates and tell us how it sort of makes Dynasty more of an immersive experience.
Yeah, and studio updates are the biggest thing we've done to Dynasty presentation in a long time, because they really bring you into the world of what's going on around you in college football. And you're not just consumed of what's happening in your game, you're getting the updates from games going around the country. Because when you watch a game on Saturday, you're not just seeing the score of your game, you're seeing everything that's going on. You're knowing the updates of the games that have happened before your game, you know the updates as your game is progressing, you know the start of those games that are going later in the day as your game's ending. So we wanted to bring those into your game experience so you can experience how the day gets revealed just like it would in real life. And it's one of those things where it really changes the way that you can kind of consume that game. At the end of a play, you're watching a post-play vignette, like one of those scriptable scenes. Well, instead of just focusing on that, now you have this bottom line ticker giving you score updates. You see those upset alerts, those party score alerts. You've got studio updates with Reese Davis, where he kind of comes in and brings his own life and a new voice and a new feel into those Dynasty games, because it's Reese. It's what he does. It's the studio updates. He took to it like a duck to water, man. It was so much fun to have him in, because he could put his own flair and his own kind of energy and his own voice into the game, and it's great to have it, because we haven't had a real new voice in the broadcast portion since we added Aaron a few years ago. But it's nice to have somebody new in there that loves college football. I mean, Reese plays it with his son, loves our game, was super excited to be a part of it.
All right, so that's great. Let me ask you some questions now.
Yeah.
How many updates do you get per game? What is the frequency like? And how is it a little bit different than maybe the demo?
Yeah, so that's actually a good question about the frequency there. The demo being in 3-minute quarters, the frequency of when you would see priority score alerts and upset alerts and that sort of thing was accelerated because of the short amount of time.
Okay.
Because those games are simmed in advance, but they're being revealed to you based on your time of the clock.
Okay.
So some are being advanced a little faster than others, some a little slower, so that's where you get the variance of time. So not everybody's at 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go in the second quarter at the same time that you are when you're getting updates.
Okay.
But you'll get about 10 studio updates at most per game, 10 stories.
Oh, great.
Now, those can come in the variety of 10 individual single game updates, or if you get one of those 2-game updates, where it gives you a single game and then cuts to a second screen that has maybe another game or 2 games or 3 games or even as many as 4.
Okay.
That counts as a second story. So you get a maximum of 10 during the course of the game.
Wow. Okay.
But those bottom line updates keep happening throughout the course of the entire game, even when you're in the pause menu. I don't know if you notice that in the demo, but you can go into instant replay and still have that bottom line going, so you can still get updates even while you're paused.
Oh, excellent.
But if you take screenshots or highlight videos, though, the bottom line won't be cut into that, so you don't have to worry about now having this random score from a random game in your awesome screenshot.
Okay.
It just takes the screenshot. It doesn't have the bottom line stuff, but it's there for you during your in-game experience.
Okay, excellent. You're getting score updates. You're getting upset alerts. What other type of things that are part of that update?
Yeah. So the logic that went into deciding what's going to be a studio update is really about your school and the team that you're controlling, and really trying to give you the most important stories that matter to you. So, obviously the big games, 1 versus 2, or a top 5, matchup, those sort of things, that's going to happen for everybody. Conference and rival games do factor in and weigh in a lot as well, so that you can get those games, right on top. If you're playing with Maryland, you're going to get an NC State update over an update from Tulsa, because it's a conference game. It's a conference opponent, and it's a divisional opponent, so that's who you want to have a story about. You want to keep up to date with what's going on with those guys, and so those are the ones that kind of factor in more. So it makes it more unique to your school. And if you play different games with different teams in the same week, we're only simming the game one time. And if you see that in the demo that it's the same scores every time, well, it's because we're not re-simming the week every time. You're getting the game's played once. You're getting that score over and over again. So in the same thing in the Dynasty, if you play multiple games, sure, you might see the same updates from multiple, the final scores from multiple games, the same ones that you've seen in the other game. But you're seeing that because it's the same game that was sim, but you're getting it from a different experience. Sometimes you might get a second quarter update, sometimes you might get a fourth quarter update.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending on the school, it might be the one game they go back to over and over and over again and update you on that score multiple times because it's the most exciting game going on at that time that matters the most to you. So there's a lot of variety in the logic for what you're going to get based on who you're using.
Wow. All right. So one final question, or two final questions. Now, it's the way it's set up that you won't see a game that's going to happen after. So you'll get the update, and that'll be the first information that you'll hear about the game. Sort of like when you go in, will you be able to sort of see the scores that the games have already been played? Because what's happening is, in the schedule, everything is laid out in a time period, but the way people play might be different than how it's set out in the game. So how does that work?
So it's a little different based on user games versus CPU versus CPU games, right?
Okay.
So in those user games, especially in the online dynasty, there's really time of day doesn't really factor into when you play, like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
You can play your game at 8, and my game's at noon, and your game's already done before I've ever kicked off,
Exactly.
right? So because of that, those games, the user versus user games, do not show up in the bottom line or not studio updates.
Excellent.
Those are ones that you already know about because of the Dynasty Wire, because of the Dynasty email alerts that you get. You know the way that game played out. So we didn't add those in this year for being a part of the studio updates in the bottom line. Those noon and 3:30 games are done. You're getting final score alerts for those. But other 8 o'clock games going on, you're going to see those as your game is progressing, and then maybe hit middle third quarter, fourth quarter. If you're an East Coast game, Hawaii might be kicking off. So you start getting some initial Hawaii kickoffs, that sort of thing. So kind of cool to have the day play out like it does in real life. So that was nice for us. But also, if you're somebody who wants to jump in and play other games, not just your controlled game, you can totally do that still. We didn't want to take that away from everybody. So jump in, play that game, and what it's going to do is throw out the pre-simmed result and replace it with whatever you've done. If you want to just sim the result and just find out before you go into the game, you can do that too. It's not going to affect anything. It's just basically revealing what you would have learned throughout the course of the game. So we didn't want to change the way people played their game. A lot of people like to play it a certain way. This is the way I love to consume a dynasty. I like to go in each week and play the top, sim through the top 25 games, so I know who's going to, win each week.
Okay.
They want to see that. We don't want to take that away if that's how you want to play.
Cool.
But now we have a new way of kind of organically delivering that to you, to where you can go in and just see these games get revealed in kind of real time with your game, and kind of experience like you would in a real Saturday.
Okay, excellent. And one final question. Now, this is Studio Update 1.0.
Yes.
And I know you can't talk about features coming up.
Right.
But in my mind, I can see screenshots of games in progress. I can see maybe even some highlight videos in those updates. Anything you can tell us about plans for the future, or how we can move to Studio Update 2.0 and beyond?
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the most exciting parts about this first version of Studio Updates is that you're really just kind of scratching the surface of where Dynasty presentation can go. Both in-game and also more of front-end kind of presentation aspects like this that bring you into more of what's happening around the college football universe, right? Because right now there's a lot of those stories that are there. All the stories that are being revealed in the stories of Saturday stuff of the studio updates have always been there. Right. But you have to sim the week, go back, look through the schedules, and see all these, to mine that information yourself. Right. There's so many great and cool presentation aspects and some new tech that we're working on that's really going to be able to bring those things to life. That, it's going to be, once this is all said and done and in there, I can't commit to when it's happening yet because it's some pretty awesome stuff that's going to change the way that the game gets presented from a broadcast presentation aspect, from a just dynasty storyline presentation aspect. Right. It's exciting.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us and talk about studio updates. I look forward to playing in NCAA 14 and 13 and beyond.
Yes, of course. There we go.
Thanks a lot, man. Mad Scientist, EA Sports Game Changer. We're live from E3 2012. You guys take care.